Hey guys, in today's video we are going to walk through 7 steps that you can do before you even step foot on an airplane to come out here to retire in the Philippines or Southeast Asia for that matter. You're not going to want to miss this video. Stick around.
Island waves and palm trees got me wishing I could leave.
Alright guys, so let's go ahead and jump right into it. Number 1 is research the right location. So here in the Philippines, you really kind of got a bunch of different areas. You got like beach towns, you got cooler weather type towns, you got the cities, and then you got the provinces. And it's not one size fits all. You know, for me, province town has never been an ideal place. And I'm not really big up into, I like to travel and go up into the cooler regions like Baguio, Tagaytay, Bukidnon, Valencia, but they're far away from places like beaches that I like to frequent. So I like to be near maybe cooler weather and be able to get up into the mountains. But I prefer city living because that's where most of the amenities are that I'm looking for, like condos and big warehouse stores like S&R and Landers and shopping malls, and there's more dating and stuff like that. So for me personally, I'm more into the cities. Province, again, it's a place that I like to visit, along with beach towns and mountain towns. But for living, no, I need to have my amenities. I need to have a nice coffee shop, a mall, a place where I can get some good groceries without having to drive an hour into a city. Now, sometimes you can live maybe in the province, just on the outskirts of a city, and that works well for a lot of people. But for me, I still like being able to maybe walk into the shopping mall. Like this condo here is connected to the shopping mall, and I simply walk through the skywalk and boom, I'm in the shopping mall, which is really nice and convenient for me. So really research the location. You can do that by expat forums, just YouTube videos even. Now, if you're a retiree, you really should consider healthcare. And again, provinces probably not going to have that. Beach towns, maybe not either. Up in the mountains, maybe Tagaytay and Baguio probably have decent hospitals. Walkability, you know, for me, that's why I didn't really enjoy Dumaguete so much. Dumaguete was not really a walkable city. Bacolod, much more walkable, but still not an ideal place. But places like IT Park and Mactan Newtown, Makati, BGC, those places are much more walkable, although they're not huge places. They're kind of little expat bubbles, but at least they're walkable. And then, of course, the climate, you know, close to the beach, you got a nice ocean breeze usually. Up in the mountains, maybe the cooler weather. In the city, it can get a little humid because you may not get that nice fresh breeze coming in because you got all the buildings blocking it. But, you know, there's definitely differences between like Dumaguete, Cebu, Davao, Manila, all these places. So definitely check it out. Be fluid, be, you know, flexible so that when you get here, you can kind of, you're not stuck into something long-term immediately. You can kind of hop around a little bit and really get a feel and see what you like or if you don't like it at all. And number 2 is budget realistically. Now, I'm going to do a separate video on this about how the budget that worked for me probably the first 5 years in the Philippines at about $1,500 US really doesn't work for me anymore, but that will be a separate video. But, you know, prices have gone up, and $1,500 a month for me no longer really cut it. Now, for some people, it might still be okay, but for me, it doesn't. And I think a lot of people would like to live at least at my level or much higher. I don't live at a high level, but I live at a pretty moderate level, and I like to go out to eat when I want, go out and grab a coffee. I do like to do some travel and things like that. And I think most people would kind of fall into the category of how I'm living. But yeah, to get that Western comfort, it's $1,500 is almost not realistic anymore. And again, I'm going to get into a lot more details in another video on this. Make sure you account for the rent, visa runs, extensions, insurance, ACR card requirements, all of that. And all of that has actually gone up in the Philippines. Even deposits for the retirement visas have gone up as well, starting on September 1. Make sure you connect with a visa agent. I recommend JRC, but whoever works for you, you know, is fine. and get with them ahead of time and kind of figure out what visa would work for you. Maybe you don't even need to get on a retirement visa immediately. You can stay on the tourist visa for up to 3 years and then leave and come back and still do the same thing. And if you're not sure on the Philippines yet, I wouldn't really recommend jumping into a retirement visa yet, because you may want to get your deposit back and you may end up going off to Cambodia or someplace. And number 4 is going to be set up international banking. Being from the US, I have 2 US bank accounts. Both of them refund on ATM fees. I have a Wise account. I have a cash remittance, just in case. And I also have a couple of credit cards. I have locally here, I have a local bank account in Gcash, which I don't really use the local bank too often, but it's nice to have if I need it. So make sure you have multiple ways to access your money. There are links down in the description for that. Make sure you alert your bank if you have a bank that isn't cool with you living overseas. Make sure you're not telling them, hey, I'm moving overseas, because they may want to close you down. Maybe just tell them you're going to be doing a lot of traveling, and that's usually fine. I also carry a traveling mailbox, so I can have my mail scanned, I can have it faxed, I can have packages forwarded to me, checks deposited. I mean, they really do everything. I've had them for about 3+ years, traveling mailbox. There's links, again, in the description for all the stuff I'm going to go over today. And it's worked very, very well for me. Items that maybe I wanted even from Amazon that don't ship here, simply I had them go to my traveling mailbox and then they forward it to me as well. So that's been great. And I do recommend getting travel medical insurance or also medical coverage. Travel medical, there's some links down below for the ones I recommend if you're just going to do an exploratory trip out here, or at least for the first few months. And if you decide you're going to live here, then call Michael Onstad, message him on Facebook. His contact information is down below, and he'll get you a quote and see if it's something you may want to do. A lot of people do self-insure. If you got that kind of money, then fantastic, self-insure yourself. But a lot of people don't usually have that kind of money just sitting around liquid in case of a medical emergency. So get yourself a quote, or at least start off with some travel medical to protect yourself. It's not really as expensive as a lot of people think. And another thing that you can do beforehand is downsize and digitize documents. Your IDs, your driver's license, your passport, a lot of your bank information, passwords, things like that. Make sure it's in a secure location and protected. But a lot of times that will work. And I have backups of everything to make sure that everything is safe. I did that with all my photo albums. I put it all onto discs and uploaded up into the cloud and all of that. So I finally just got rid of all my stuff that I had sitting in a storage for the longest time. Finally, a couple years back when I went home, I took care of all of that. So I basically have zero of anything left there now. And make sure, a lot of people forget, but cancel unnecessary subscriptions. There's a lot of subscriptions that people just kind of forget about. They're like, oh, I got this service that aren't going to be available here. And a lot of services, like, for example, Spotify, Google Storage, Netflix, much cheaper if they think you're in the Philippines. Well, and you will be in the Philippines or Southeast Asia. And then you can simply change the subscription to reflect prices for the Philippines. And get yourself a VPN too, because that's going to be important. A lot of times you can't access sites or even your streaming services or certain bank information and stuff. You can't access that unless they think you're in the US or another country for that matter. Now, step number 7 is join expat groups and communities early on. Now, these can be used for a wealth of information. A lot of them are very, very helpful, like the one in Bacolod, very friendly people. When you start getting into the big ones like the Cebu Expat Club, even the Dumaguete one, or the Philippines expat groups, they can be kind of vicious and very grumpy people. And, you can still extract some good information from people who have lived here much longer than I have. And but some of them are really kind of snarky, and they are not too helpful. They're just, you put a post up and they're just attacking you. Oh, why don't you look in the previous posts, or this is just common knowledge. And it may not be common knowledge for you, but just bear in mind that they're not always the friendliest groups around. Some of them are. The smaller expat groups tend to be pretty friendly. Like, again, here in Bacolod, very friendly. But the larger ones, kind of toxic, to be honest. But, you know, they can help you kind of avoid scams, find rentals, let you know ahead of time if that's a good area or not, or if that's a good condo or not, or if that's a good hospital, or things like that. You know, you could also hire a relocation or a consultation expert, and I also do consultations if you're coming out to the Philippines or Southeast Asia. I've lived in Vietnam and traveled to Thailand and Malaysia numerous times, so if you need help, certainly contact me through my website, or there's a link in the description. All right, just some bonus tips I wanted to mention. It does help to learn some basic Filipino phrases, whether it be in Tagalog, which is the national language around the Philippines. If you know you're going to live maybe in the Visayas, which I have the majority of my time, I've mainly learned Bisaya, which is what I would hear on a day-to-day basis and what people would speak on a day-to-day basis. Tagalog, not even all Filipinos actually speak it really well. Some of them speak English better than they do Tagalog, I find out, you know, because they don't really use it either. So that's just something to bear in mind. But it does help, and it actually impresses people. They get a big kick out of it as well. Getting an international driver's permit helps. You don't necessarily need it in the Philippines. Places like Thailand require it, but here it's not necessary. Your license from your home country is good for the first 90 days. Make sure you bring your medications with prescriptions, very important. Buy, you know, essentials there, and also make sure you get your quality electronics back home first. Here, the markup on electronics, and sometimes they don't offer or have all the stuff that you really want. Like, for example, I went to buy a MacBook Air. They only had the very basic, the base model. They didn't have the next levels up, and nor were they going to get them in. And they said, no, we just don't offer it. You got the base model, and that's it. And I'm like, well, what about the color? And they're like, nope, that one color. So that was it. And so if there's a quality electronics that you want, it's much better to get in your home country, or even take a trip into Hong Kong or Bangkok or Kuala Lumpur, Singapore, even Japan, and get your electronics there. And just remember, the better you prepare, the easier your transition when you move out here to the Philippines or Southeast Asia. And the faster you can start enjoying stress-free living at a less expensive price. And that is for sure, even though, like I said, the Philippines is going to be more expensive than a lot of the other Southeast Asian countries. And again, for so many years, I lived on $1,500 just fine, comfortably. And I no longer feel that is the case anymore. I cannot really make that $1,500 work for me. When I was married before, then of course there was more mouths to feed, bigger place, more electric consumed, more food consumed, more trips were more expensive, so that's normal. But I figured when I would become solo that it would be, I would drop right back down to like $1,500 or so per month, but that's not the case. And again, I will make a separate video on that and just kind of talk a little bit more about that. And again, if you're relocating to the Philippines or other places in Southeast Asia and you want some help, I can certainly help you with your transition, or even just visiting and not necessarily moving. Contact me on my website to book a consultation. Don't forget my Geo Travel Essentials, all the things I highly recommend for living or traveling in the Philippines. There are links down below, or just go to my website, geoinphilippines.com. There's a bunch of information over there as well. I appreciate you guys watching, and I will see you on the next video. Ciao.